it's Tara from yokieB.com. Welcome to my channel. Today I thought it would be fun to bring you a crocheted embellishment to add to your Christmas or holiday gifts. I actually played around with this idea last year when I added it to my Christmas wreath tutorial, and I wanted to perfect it a little bit and give it to you guys for a way to add a little something extra to your Christmas and holiday gifts. This crocheted embellishment is a great way to use up some scrap yarn. I'm using a DK weight and also a twine. I got this from Amazon, but it's a similar weight to the DK. I'm using a size 2 crochet hook because I like how tight it makes the stitches. I think it just makes it look a little bit more polished when you're doing your words. And then you're going to need some scissors, a tape measure or ruler, and then some wire. This is a 24 gauge wire, but you could also use different sizes. I think another thing that you might be able to use is like a hanger. Of course, that would make a much bigger embellishment. That would be more for like a wreath or a tree. But that's what's so neat about this crocheted embellishment is that you could add it as a decoration to your tree. You can make a wreath with pom-poms. There's just so many ideas that you can make with it. Let's go ahead and get started. Just a few tips to think about before getting started. I think it's a good idea to figure out which words you are going to try to form with your crochet. That way you can kind of figure out your chain count and things like that. I will give you my exact chain count for all of the words that I am making, and you can see if that works for you or if you have to add a few. This is something you might have to play around with. Get creative, and you may just have to adjust the chains by a few to make it exactly as you want. Next, you can also adjust your yarn or hook size. You can also adjust your wire size, but just keep in mind that if you do this, that it will definitely either make your letters smaller or larger. When I made the words for my wreath, I used a crochet cord, so it was much smaller. I also did it a little bit differently. Just keep in mind that if you adjust your yarn, hook, or wire size, that it will still work, but it is going to adjust the size of your overall word. And lastly, this is totally up to you, but I find that it is easier as you are crocheting over your wire to not cut the wire until you are completely finished with your word. That way you know exactly how much wire you're going to need for your word. It is a little bit awkward to crochet this way, but I feel like in the end it's still easier for you. That way you don't have to cut a new piece of wire each time and try to adjust the size just in case it's too short. Get started, go ahead and grab your crochet hook, whatever size you're using, and your yarn. I am using another DK weight. This is Paint Box Yarns Cotton DK in the color Lipstick Pink. I'll also link that down below if you'd like to check it out. But go ahead and grab any of your scrap yarn that you're wanting to use. Just keep in mind that if you use a different size than DK, then your letters are going to be a different size as well. So go ahead and make your slip knot. And we are going to start chaining. Now I will list here all the chain counts for the words that I have made. We're going to go ahead and make joy, and that is 125 chains. So go ahead and get started with chaining. Once you have made all of the chains that you need for your word, go ahead and grab your wire. And as I mentioned before, it's easier for me to just keep my wire attached to my spool as I'm crocheting around it, but if you have a lot of extra wire or you just want to cut it, you go for it. You're just going to have to unravel it a little bit. You want to unravel it to where you have enough to work with so that it's not awkward or anything like that, or not too awkward. Okay, and once you have your wire, we are going to place it with a little bit of an overhang. So you're going to leave a little bit extra hanging off the edge, which we're going to fold over so that it doesn't slide off. Make sure that it is behind your working yarn. That way you're going to catch the wire in your single crochet. So go ahead and insert your hook in that first chain, and you're going to yarn over and pull up a loop over that wire. Complete your single crochet. And once you've completed your single crochet, go ahead and fold this end piece over so that your yarn doesn't fall off of your wire. It can kind of slip around a little bit, so you don't want it to fall off. So keeping your wire at the back of your work or on top, just not in front, you're going to single crochet around the wire all the way down your chain row. Now I find that it's easier for me to have a knife hold with my crochet hook with this particular project. I'm usually a pencil hole crocheter, but I just think that this gives you a little bit more stability when you're crocheting, just so you can hold the hook and also hold your wire and your yarn at the same time. And then once your single crochet row starts to get longer, it's easier to hold. And you're just going to continue doing this, crocheting single crochets over the wire all the way until the end of your chain row. And I will meet you back at the end and we will form our word. Once you've reached your final single crochet, go ahead and finish that. And we're going to be fastening off, but first you want to adjust your stitches so that they are straight on your wire. This is another reason why it's easier, I think, to keep your wire on your spool. That way you know you have enough wire, because as you can see, it gets pretty bunched up. So you want to make sure that you stretch it all along the wire so that your stitches aren't bunched or anything like that. Once you have that finished, you can go ahead and fasten off. Grab your scissors. And we can also cut our wire. So leave just a little bit of a tail so that you can bend it over. Now I would not normally use these scissors for this, but I don't have my wire cutters near me, so we are just going to use them. And then you're going to want to fold your wire over to hold your single crochet in place. And we can always adjust this at the end, and we can weave it in to our single crochet row. And grab your tapestry needle and weave these ends in. Now we're ready to form our words. Just keep in mind that they're meant to look whimsical and nothing that is too pristine or anything like that. I think that's the beauty of these, is that they look handmade and just really whimsical and fun. I think the easiest way to form your words is probably going to be in cursive. Go ahead and start out with our J, since we are doing joy first. And just kind of play around with it until you're satisfied with the outcome. And the good part about this wire is that it's easy to bend back in place. So if you need to straighten it out or anything, you can always just bend it back in place. Once you're happy with your completed word, you can go ahead and tuck the rest of these wires back into your single crochet. You can use a tapestry needle for this, or you can just do it by hand. Sometimes needle nose pliers are good for that. And then you are all finished. Congrats on your super fun and cute DIY gift wrapping embellishment.